Definitely.
But how'd you get into spirituality?
So for me, I got into spirituality through my grandmother.
Yeah.
So she been through a lot. I can't really put business out there, but she been through a lot in life. She wanted to give up sometimes, and she's actually of the gay community. So she's a Jehovah Witness. She been Jehovah Witness for 20 something years. She goes to the church and they say, I got a problem with who you lay in the bed with. After that, she says, there's no religion that should be worried about what I'm doing outside of the church, outside of my religion. My relationship with God is me and my problem. So she stopped doing that. A little bit after that, she started studying to be a masseuse. She got her masseuse license and she started studying spirituality. And from there, I got in points in my life that it was hard to keep surviving and go through it. And I needed answers for a lot of things. So she pointed me towards spirituality, and that's where everything all started.
So the answers that you was getting before the spirituality, I bet it was one of those where it didn't have a substance that you really needed.
It didn't have anything. Through spirituality, the answers came from within. I couldn't go look for them. I couldn't go in a book. It wasn't nobody that can give me directions but my own self.
Right.
So spirituality is something that you got to dig deep in yourself, and you get them questions from you, not somebody that wrote it in the Bible and another man tells you to, hey, you got to live life like this.
Right.
You find what's your rights and what's your wrongs.
To me, I think that with stuff like that, what I realized was that it builds up a certain type of program in the people where they start to develop like a fear-based mindset where just like it's crazy. Yo, it's like yo, I don't want to do a lot of things because I don't want to go to hell.
And that's another thing that she taught me. A lot of people in this life are scared of fear. So when I tell people you can be scared, but to conquer fear, you can also be brave.
Yes.
Like, say you scared of a snake. You see a snake in this yard outside. You go test your fear out. You go test how brave you are. Get close to that snake. Then over time, you defeat that fear. You defeat that stigma that I'm scared. I'm not going to approach things that I'm scared of. So through spirituality, it was me being scared. People telling me I'm not supposed to do these things. You got to live like this. You got to live like that. Well, I challenged myself. So I said, let me approach these things that I'm scared of. Let me try to venture into doing these things. And another thing, she taught me about death. So we're taught that death is a scary thing.
All right. So with that being said, I don't mean to cut you off. We can continue like back on it. But this is going to be a brief little question. But, and I know it's probably most likely going to tie in what are you about to say.
Yep.
But do you believe that death is the end, or this is just the end of what this reality is now? And then after that, we go into like another realm or dimension, or I don't even know like the right word to even use.
So let's talk about that one, because this is a big concept. So death related to fear is we're scared of the unknown.
Absolutely.
So we have anxiety because tomorrow you're not going to know what happened. You're plotting about tomorrow, so you get scared today. So to stop that, to live more, you have to not be afraid of death. You have to approach it. Like, for example, people that do daredevil things like skydiving, they approach those things because they're full of life. They don't fear death.
Yeah.
So they're limitless. And to death, it's like this. We're taught in science that everything have energy. So my question is, and I never have answered this today, when you die, that energy that your body contains, where does it go? And we know that we have a soul. So where does that soul go? Those are two questions me or nobody else can answer, right? Me or nobody else can answer. But what I do know is, when I die, this body is temporary.
Absolutely.
I leave this body. I can't think. My brain is within this body. So they say death is painful, but you have experiences where people said their near-death experiences or that have died, it may have been pleasurable.
Yeah, like it brings like a sensation of warmth, oneness, going towards that white light, I guess.
Definitely.
But like for me, for example, when it comes to like stuff like that, it's just like people tend to put that label on death with damn near everything that they do. You know what I mean? Like, for example, just like what you just said, like death is just, to me personally, is just like the fear of the unknown. And a lot of people don't like going in that direction. They like going with what makes them feel safe and comfortable, whatever that homeostasis is, you feel me? But to me, that hinders a lot of people's growth. And I'm like, personally, I'm big on going towards the unknown because like I feel as though like the only remedy for that is that you got to face your fear. You know that you're scared. You're aware that you're scared. But I think that the only remedy to that is courage, because that's showing that you are scared, but it's still not stopping you from doing whatever it is that you got to do. And I think that people should display a large amount of courage when they are the most scared, because a lot of times a lot of situations isn't like a life or death situation. You feel me? But we tend to make a lot of the situations that we in, like if the bill is due on the 1st of December, you know what I mean, we already put ourselves in like a death situation before that even happens.
So let's talk about that one. So I'm gonna end this on a death note. We create the stigma in our head. We fear death because it's the unknown, but humans fear everything that's unknown. That's where anxiety gets created. Right? So for example, I probably stopped working for like a corporate job probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. My parents told me, "Oh, you don't know if you might need this job. You don't know if you don't." You gotta take them steps. You gotta just see. You can't fear what you don't know. So people might say, "Oh well, I might not be able to pay that bill next week." That you anticipating what's coming tomorrow. You don't know. Tomorrow hasn't approached yet.
Yeah.
So anxiety is created from the fear of the unknown, but you can't know what's unknown. It's unknowing. So we create these stigmas in our head. Say, for example, back in the day, I used to approach a female and say, "Dang, she's gonna reject me. It can go like this, it can go like this, it can go like that."
Yeah.
That's anxiety. That's me creating mental pictures in my head that this situation will go wrong. This is a problem in our society, and we have to retrain our mind state and rewire to go, let me think this situation in a positive manner. So for a year and a half, I've been recreating every situation in the best way possible that it can go. I still know that it can go wrong, but let me just think that this can go right.
What is the biggest challenge with coming with thinking like that?
The biggest challenge is, even unknown to known, is not knowing what's going to happen. But it's just when you approach things with a positive mindset, is a bigger percentage of that thing that you're trying to accomplish of going right, because you're driven, you're not scared, you're ready to approach it. Everything about your mannerism said, "I'm ready for this task."
Yeah, man. And with that being said, I think that people should just ultimately just not be afraid to take on a task that pertains to them being the higher version of themselves. And oftentimes that come across as fear. But it's crazy how slight your actual inner self taught to you, because you drowned out all the noise up top with all the distractions, but it be pointing you in the right direction literally all the freaking time. But it's just so much monkey mind and clutteredness going on around that it's hard to like listen in. But when you do listen to it, it's most likely the scariest thing you ever heard in your life.